Continue. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Wisconsin State 4-H Horse Association. In this today, we're going to learn a little bit more about horsebowl. If you've ever been interested in learning what is horsebowl, what does a contest look like, how do I take points, and you just wanted to participate, maybe learn a little more, maybe run a mock contest with your other 4-H members, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. I'm Jill Jorgensen. I'm the 4-H educator from Kewaunee County, and I'm joined today by Linda Pribek and Micki Pribek, who are our horsebowl gurus that are going to show you a little bit more and talk to you a little bit more about horsebowl. One of the things that we wanted to do as we're starting today is really give you an idea of where do I find out more information about how to do a horsebowl contest, what are the rules, what are the regulations that go with it. So let's share that with you and show you a little bit more about how you find that. When you are looking for the 4-H handbook, and that is where you're going to find all of the rules about horsebowl, that is where you're going to find all the rules about horsebowl. What you're going to do, I think, is the easiest way right now is to go to the Google search engine and you're going to type in Wisconsin 4-H horse. As you see on my screen right now, I typed that in there already. So if you go and you click that return, you're going to see right at the very top of mine, sometimes there's a few other things above it. It says Wisconsin 4-H Horse Association Handbook. Click on that. Eventually, this will be on our state Wisconsin 4-H website. They're just working on getting it moved over there now. So this is the easiest way to find it. And we'll be sure to let you know when that's moved over. So how do you find out information about 4-H horsebowl? You'll see the Horse Association handbook here at the top of the screen. You're going to scroll down to chapter 4. Under chapter 4, you're going to see a lot of different things that you can choose from. The first thing you're going to choose is 4-H horse educational guidelines and click on that. Once you're in the guidelines, what you're going to see is a cover and then a table of contents. In the table of contents, you'll see pages 20 to 23 are where you're going to find horsebowl information. So you scroll down to pages 20 to 23. And on pages 20 to 23 are where you'll find all of the information related to horsebowl. So what are the grade divisions? It lays it right here. What are our contest rules in Wisconsin? How do I get points? Those are all good things you might want to know. One of the things I think is most important to really look at is what are the topics and resources? So under topics and resources, you'll see that those are right here on our screen. Those are going to be the main topics for the year. And then if you're looking for those resources, here's a place where you can find those resources that they're going to use to make those questions. So the questions that are in horsebowl come right from these resources. In some of these, such as where it says CCS Horse Project Guidebooks, those might even be related from your extension office that you can order them right through extension or right through different extension services or even through National 4-H. Some of the other sources like Equine Science by Jean T. Griffiths. One of the things that I do is I will just Google that and find the latest edition or the edition that it says that we're supposed to use. And that's the way that I'll find that. The other thing you might want to do is check with your local horse project or your extension office because they might actually have a library of all of these resources that you can check out, that you can look through, and that you can check back in. So make sure that you see if you have those available to you before you go out and buy those because you might just be able to borrow them and especially right now do a porch drop off or a porch pickup or find an easy, convenient way. I know sometimes they'll even have these at the local library. So check that out. Those are a few of the things today about getting to the horsebowl rules, regulations, and a little bit more about answering those questions about how you can find those sources. Now let's get to the fun part. So I'm going to stop sharing our screen on that. Let's get to the fun part today. So Micki and Linda are going to act as your judges. One of them is going to be the reader and judge, and the other one's going to be the timer and judge. And they're going to tell you a little bit more about what does a horsebowl contest look like? How do you go through it? And then we're going to go through a contest and have a little bit of fun today. So let's see if you can test your horsebowl knowledge.
Thanks, Jill. So we're going to kind of explain the rules as we're going through, since some of you may be new to horsebowl. The first 8 questions are going to be what's called a one-on-one question. And that means that they're open only to the chair that is indicated by the moderator. So for instance, the first question will be for chair 1. Only the individuals seated in chair 1 will be able to buzz in and answer those questions. So let's give some questions a try. First question is for chair 1. What is the name for a slow, smooth trot in a Western class?
Time.
The correct answer is jog.
If you got that question correct and you are a beginner, you would give yourself a +1. If you got that question correct and you're a junior or a senior, you get +2 if you were seated in chair 1. If you got it wrong, it's a -1.
Before I move to the next question, I should probably explain the reason why this question was worth only 1 point for the beginners is that the beginners do not use one-on-one questions. If you are a beginner, the question is open to any chair. So question 2, if you are a beginner, is an open question. If you are not a beginner, this question is only for chair 2. What unit is a horse's height measured in?
Time.
The correct answer is hands.
That's +1 for the beginner, +2 for chair 2, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 3 is for chair 3. What is the name of the Western bridle with a crown piece that allows one ear to pass through the crown piece, thereby holding the headstall in place?
Time.
The correct answer is split ear.
That is +2 if you are not a beginner, +1 for the beginner. Chair 3, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 4 is for chair 4. What is the offspring that results from crossing a male donkey and a female horse?
Time.
The correct answer is mule.
That's +2 if you're not a beginner, +1 for the beginner. That was chair 4, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 5 is for chair 1. A padded roll on the forward side of the saddle flap on an English saddle is referred to as a what?
Time.
The correct answer is leg roll.
For chair 1, +2 if you are a beginner, +1, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 6 is for chair 2. What instrument does a veterinarian use to listen to the horse's heart sounds?
Time.
The correct answer is stethoscope.
For chairs 2, +2 if you are a beginner, +1, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 7 is for chair 3. A skin pinch test is a simple way to test for what in a horse's body?
Time.
The correct answer is dehydration.
For chairs 3, +2 if you're a beginner, +1, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 8 is for chair 4. What is the name of the gait that is an extended canter in which the horse remains collected and does not move into a 4-beat gait?
Time.
The correct answer is hand gallop.
For chair 4, that's +2 if you're a beginner, +1 if you got it wrong. -1.
So now we've come to the end of the one-on-one questions. We're going to continue the contest with open questions. The open questions are open to all chairs. Question 9. What is the name for the sores caused by the rubbing of a saddle or harness?
Time.
The correct answer, galls.
That's +1 for any chair, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 10. What is the purpose of an anthelmintic drug?
Time.
Correct answer, to deworm horses.
+1 for any chair, -1 if you got it wrong.
The next question is a toss-up question. A toss-up question is open to all chairs, but there's an extra bonus to a toss-up question. If you get this question correct, then your team will have a chance to answer a bonus question next. So question 11, this is a toss-up question. It's open to all chairs. What are 2 methods for handling manure and other fly breeding materials to reduce fly breeding problems?
Time.
The correct answer, spreading thinly on pasture or cropland or stockpiling in one place to compost.
+1 for all chairs, -1 if you got it wrong. Congratulations to those of you who got it right. Your team now has a chance at the bonus question.
So the next question is the bonus question. This question is only for the team that correctly answered the toss-up question. Now, with this question, once it's read, you will have some time to discuss the answer amongst yourselves. And then the captain of the team will give the answer to the moderator. So question 12 is the bonus question. Name 4 environmental elements that should be evaluated and taken into consideration when planning a horse farm operation.
Time. We need the captain to begin giving the answer.
So at this point in the competition, you would have 30 seconds to complete the answer. We're not going to wait the full 30 seconds today. The correct answer is topography, drainage, prevailing winds, solar radiation, precipitation, vegetation, soil characteristics. You would need to have correctly answered 4 of those in order to have correctly answered this question.
And if you got 4 of those correct, that's +2, but that is a team score only. There are no individual points awarded for bonus questions.
So now we resume the open questions. These questions are open to all chairs. Question 13. What is the minimum recommended thickness for rubber mats used in stall floors?
Time.
The correct answer is 5/8 of an inch.
That would be +1 for the individual, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 14. What is the name of a piece of training equipment that is attached to the noseband, preventing the horse from raising its head?
Time.
The correct answer is standing martingale.
That's +1 for all chairs, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 15. What hazard is commonly associated with heavy or wet bales?
Time.
The correct answer is spontaneous combustion or fire.
That's +1 for all chairs, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 16. Proteins are made up of a chain of smaller parts known as what?
Time.
The correct answer is amino acids.
+1 for the individuals, -1 if you got it wrong.
The next question is another toss-up question. This question is open for all chairs. And remember that answering this question correctly will gain your team a chance at the bonus question. So question 17, a toss-up open to all chairs. What are the coat color requirements for an American saddlebred?
Time.
The correct answer, there are none. They can come in any color, including pinto.
That's +1 for all chairs, -1 if you got it wrong.
And congratulations to the person who correctly answered that question. Your team now has an opportunity to answer the bonus question. This next question is the bonus question. It is only for the team that correctly answered the toss-up. Name 3 paths of water loss from a horse's body.
Time. We need the captain to begin the answer.
And again, in the real world, you would have 30 seconds to complete that answer. We're not going to wait the full 30 seconds today. The correct answer is feces, sweat, urine, respiration, and you would have needed to correctly answer 3 of those in order to get the question correctly.
And congratulations if you got it correctly. That is +2 for the bonus question. Those are team scores only. They do not count for individual points.
Next, we'll resume with more open questions. These questions are open to all chairs. Which breed of pony developed in the US?
Ooh, I know the answer to this.
Oh no, that's a -1 for
Oh.
answer before you were acknowledged.
Oh,
It's a good lesson. So what happens if somebody jumps in before they're acknowledged, Linda?
If you give your answer before you are acknowledged, you get a -1 for the individual and the team.
That makes sense. And thanks for reminding me. Let's hear the whole question though from Micki, because I think it was a good one.
great. So in the real world, we would not reread the question after it was answered incorrectly. But for practice, it's good to get the question to everybody. So restarting with our question number 19, it's an open question, open to all. Which breed of pony developed in the US is imported European stock used for riding and light draft work? It is also capable of pulling loads much heavier than its average weight of 340 pounds.
Time.
The correct answer is the American Shetland pony.
That's +1 for all chairs, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 20. What is the name of the condition characterized by an inflammation of the sensitive laminae of the hoof?
Time.
The correct answer is laminitis or founder.
That's +1 for the chairs, -1 for the individuals. If you were scoring as a beginner, question 20 is the last question in your contest. If you want to play along for the rest of it, we'll continue on.
So question 21 is an open question, open to all chairs. How is EEE, or Eastern Equine Encephalomyelitis, transmitted?
Time.
The correct answer, mosquitoes.
That's +1 for the individual, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 22. In racing, what is the name of the horse that takes the lead and sets the speed for the race?
Time.
The correct answer is pacemaker.
That's +1 for the individual, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 23. What is the average hoof growth rate per month for adult horses?
Time.
The correct answer is 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter.
That's +1 for the individual chair, -1 if you got it wrong.
Question 24. This is the last question. It is an open question, open to all chairs. A horse's body fat can be estimated using what method of evaluation?
Time.
The correct answer, body condition scoring.
That's +1 for the individual, -1 if you got it wrong. So we'll give you a little bit of time to add up your scores and see what you have. And here's a little list of what your scores would bring you up to. If you have 1 or less points, you are a mini. If you have 2 to 5 points, you're a pony. If you have 6 to 9 points, you're an Arab. If you have 10 to 14 points, you're a thoroughbred. And if you have 15 or over, you are a Clydesdale. If there's anyone out there who would be interested in sending questions in, we would let any youth or adult who's interested in contributing to the database of questions send 10 questions to Micki. She'll give you her information in a minute. We want the questions written in this format. You would write the question, you would write the answer, you would put the name of the resource material, and lastly, you would put the page of the resource material. So Micki, if you can let them know where they could send any of those questions.
Sure. My email address is Micki, that's M like Mary, ICKI, long, LONG, 1971 @gmail.com. And if you could just put horse bowl questions in the subject column, that will help me sort out through my emails who's sending me questions. I found actually that it could be really good practice writing questions also. You can learn a lot by going through the references and picking questions out.
I know, Micki, one of the things that we did when we were doing horse bowls, we actually would write 2 sets. So we'd have a set that we would practice from and a set that we would send in, so that we were just always kind of jogging our minds. So we had a whole set of note cards that we would use. Are there some other tips and tricks that you can think of that would be really good for our 4-Hers to know as they're starting their horse bowl contest or starting their practice? And, especially if they're a new 4-H member who's just interested and hasn't maybe done this before?
Yeah, sure. Couple of tips and tricks that I could think of. You were kind enough to show us earlier in the video to wait when you're giving your answer until you've been acknowledged. Some of these little details in the rules, it takes a little practice. So if you can just set up a little practice session, at home before you go and get to the contest, it can help relieve some of the jitters, and the contestants will feel a little bit more prepared. And that goes to another good point for writing up a set of questions, because you'll have to have questions to ask if you're going to do a practice session. Just to show my age, when I was competing in horseball, we used to we would have questions that we had written up, and we would record them onto cassette tape, and we would listen to that tape. I would even, like, as I was going to bed at night, I'd pop that tape in and listen to it as I was falling asleep. I used to say that I was learning by osmosis while I was sleeping. But yeah, we have much better technology now than cassette tape. But any way that you can just kind of repeatedly be giving your brain access to the information, it'll make it stick a little better. Do you have any other tips or tricks to share?
You guys were telling me about full team participation. That's something that I read about in the rules. Can somebody explain a little bit more about what is full team participation?
Sure. In our contests, 4 contestants are seated on the panel at one time, and alternates can be seated at the request of a team captain and must remain in for the completion of the current game when you're in there. But when you answer a question correctly, if you're in chair 1, you'll be told to flip up your card so that we know you answered it correctly. Then if chair 2 answers correctly, they flip up their card. Now, if chair 3 has answered correctly, but then gets replaced by the alternate, that card goes down and you start over. You need all 4 seated members to have those cards flipped up at the same time, and then you get full team participation. For our rules in Wisconsin, a full team is considered as 4 contestants. So we allow you to participate with fewer than the 4, but you cannot get full team participation unless all 4 members that are seated at one time have their cards up showing they answered correctly.
Oh, that's great. So how many points do I get for full team participation, or do we as a team get for full team participation, I should say?
That's a good question, Jill.
I just thought it was a great one to know.
And I'm looking for the answer.
Two. So I think it's under point system, number 6, bonus points for full team participation. Is it 2? So page 22?
Yes, it is 2.
Perfect. Are there any other good tips and tricks from your years of coaching and being horseball participants that you think would be really great for people to know?
One thing that we do in Wisconsin that they don't do at regionals or nationals is under topics and resources. The topics that are used for each year are listed. For 2020, it was nutrition and feeds. For 2021, it's going to be health, disease and prevention, parasites, first aid, housing management. That doesn't mean all of the questions will come from that category, but at least 20% of the questions in every game will be from that category. So it helps you have an area to focus in on when you're practicing.
That's a really good hint, especially if I'm thinking about where can I write some good questions from, or where can I practice from, in those really good resources that we have. The other thing I found in Horsebowl, kind of what Micki, what you were saying is, practice makes better, right? So the more we practiced and the more we played around, and even we would quiz each other, even if we weren't with our full team, we figured out that, the more times we practiced the questions and we got comfortable answering spontaneously after we've been acknowledged, of course, the easier it was. So I know that that's something that we did a lot of, is we practiced a lot, whether it was our full team or with, one of our course project friends. And that's something you can even do on Zoom. And so that's one of the great things, is you can say, hey, let's hop on Zoom for 20 minutes and practice some horseball questions back and forth. And it's a really great way to connect with your other horse bowlers or other people in your horse project. I also think horsebowl is a really good place if you have people who are interested in horses. Maybe they're doing horse educational, they might not own a horse yet, but they're really interested in the horse project. I always think education, especially horsebowl, hippology, speaking and demonstration, arts and communication, any of those things in the horse project are a great place to get involved in the horse project and start. I know it's one of the things I think is super fun, and was really great to meet other 4-Hers, along with learning a lot. I know I learned a lot from Horsebowl about horses.
Absolutely. And so the topics and resources that are listed in here, those are the resources that will be used to write the questions, and that the judges will use to determine, the accuracy of an answer that was given. But you can do, many other things as well. We used to play horse trivia, just to be continually thinking, doing different things that made it fun. Reading a textbook style book isn't always,
Yeah.
isn't always fun. So sometimes changing it up and doing a different activity, like trivia, or, maybe for your beginners, some of these books might be a little more advanced reading. Maybe find something that's, more interesting for the beginners to read about horses. The more you read, horse magazines, horse books, horse games, the more you expose yourself to any kind of knowledge about horses, go to an event where they're, teaching you about showing a horse, or teaching you about judging, or teaching you anything about horses. Go to those events and get that information. The more information you soak up, the stronger you'll be in these educational events.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I remember Linda one time when she was coaching us in Horsebowl, she brought out a model horse and she pointed to the parts of the horse and said, now what is this part? And really helped us with the identification of where parts were on the horse. Or even you can get these really great handouts that are paper handouts that have the skeleton where you can label, so you can do who can do it fastest, or who can find a certain item the fastest. And you could do that with muscles, you could do it with the skeleton, you could do it with parts of the horse. You could even hand it out with even things like face markings. I know was another fun one that we like to do, to see who could either guess the fastest or get it the fastest. And that could be totally something you do on Zoom. It could be something that you send out to members ahead of time via email, or even in paper form, and then you have everybody come together and meet virtually. And those will be good things when we meet in small groups, or even hopefully down the line when we can meet in larger groups. So some really good options for some great ways to just get your mind thinking in a different way about horses. So I think that's a really good point, Micki. I really think that's a great topic. Is there anything else we wanted to share with our 4-Hers for this round of 4-H Horsebowl and education?
I think there's one more thing that we do in Wisconsin, and that is, if you're a small county or you're coming new to Horsebowl and you say, oh, I don't have enough in one age division, Wisconsin allows you to, if you have beginners, juniors, and seniors that you want to mix to make a full team of 4, we allow you to do that as long as you enter the Horsebowl in whatever grade the oldest person is. So you can have beginners, juniors, and seniors all on the same team, so that if you're a real small county, you can still come and compete and have fun at the event.
That's a really great point, Linda. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you to our 4-H Horseball gurus, Linda and Micki, for joining us today. And we hope to talk to you again soon about more 4-H horse educational projects in our state of Wisconsin 4-H. Thanks so much and have a great night.